Welcome back to B-Side Banter. This is episode 23. I'm here with Smitty from Smitty's Soul Shack, and I'm excited to have you on because we're going to be talking a little bit about R&B and soul and some genres we haven't spent a lot of time with on this podcast. You also have a podcast of your own called Music is the Glue, and I've checked out several episodes, and it's a really cool pod. You've got a co-host on there named Tony. And yeah, I'll kick it to you to just talk a little bit more about what you do on your channel, your podcast, whatever you want to say.
Okay. So, like you said, everybody calls me Smitty. So I have a social media presence on Instagram and TikTok. Smitty Soul Shack is what it's called.
Mm,
So I'll tell you how I started Smitty Soul Shack. So I collect vinyl records. That's
yeah.
like my thing. I've collected since I was a kid. Um, and I'm a really introverted guy. So I don't go out much. My wife drags me out here and there, but
Nice.
I
Yeah.
like to stay in the house, be in my own little, my
Mm,
own little zone. Um,
yeah.
but you have all this great music and you want to share it with people, right? So
Absolutely.
one day I was just sitting there like, you know what? I'm gonna start an Instagram page and just start sharing my records. So in the beginning, I would just, have the video playing of a certain record song playing.
Mm,
I was never in it, right? And it it took off kind of slow, and then
yeah.
after a
Yeah.
while, it's like, you know what? I'm shy, but I'm gonna start recording myself. I'm gonna get in front of the camera. So I started doing that, and then slowly it started picking up, and here we are today, Smitty Soul Shack. I think I have about uh 60,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram together. So it's not a lot to a lot of people, but for me,
No, that's
hey,
that's
I love it.
huge.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's a way for me to share my music with people, and we can be in different houses, which is ideal for
Mm,
me.
yeah. Absolutely. And tell us maybe a little bit about the podcast there. Music is the glue.
So, like you said, our podcast is called Music is the Glue. You can find it on YouTube and you can catch it anywhere you find your podcast.
Mm,
So I do it with a guy named Tony. His name is T Money 1968 on Instagram. Please go follow him. That's my guy. We do
nice.
a podcast together. What we do is we talk about different types of music because, like the podcast is called "Music Is the Glue."
Mm,
Music really does hold us together as a people, kind of. With all the crap going on in the world.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
get a bunch of people in a room and put on a good song. Hey,
Mm, hmm.
music is the glue. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's how we came up
absolutely.
with the name of it. So if you get a chance, check it out. Music is the Glue
Mhm.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You get any listeners out there definitely should check it out. It's really good.
Thanks, man.
Um, yeah, and maybe get into a little bit about yourself and like what you grew up listening to because I think that's what sometimes is so interesting to me is like somebody's musical journey because like you listen to stuff as a kid and then you go through a high school phase, usually a little rebellious in your music taste. You're
Right,
like, you're getting into it. And then
right.
as you get, out of that phase, you then like some people kind of get comfortable and they just kind of listen to all the stuff they've already listened to. Obviously, with a music channel, that's not really possible. You kind of have to listen
Yeah,
to all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, just tell us a little bit about some of your music kind of taste and how that evolved over
Okay.
time.
So for me, it was strange when I grew up in my house. My household was super religious.
Mm,
Um, so at my mother's house and with my grandmother, her mother, all we listened to was gospel music. That was it. If you
yeah.
played what they used to call devil music, oh,
Yes.
yeah, that was a no go. But
Yeah.
when I went to my father's side of the family, his mother and
Mm,
father, my grandparents, they listened to all the R&B, the jazz, the soul music. So
yeah.
it was two different worlds, but I got a mix of both, which
Mm,
was good, which was
yeah.
good. Now today I don't really listen to a lot of gospel. I listen to a little bit of it. Um,
Okay.
but I love jazz. Jazz was kind of my first love. My grandfather listened to jazz. The first album I ever bought with my own money was a jazz album. Actually, it was the Dave Brubeck Quartet. When I was 12 years old, I bought
Yeah.
the Time Out. It was released in 1959. I bought that album with my own money, so that was a big
Mm,
that was a big deal for me. So
yeah. Yeah.
so
For
yeah,
sure.
but I grew up listening to a little bit of everything. I went to high school, and our high school was kind of mixed. So we had blacks, whites, Mexicans. We had a little bit of everything. So you become friends with different, people and you start listening to different things. So I went through a little phase where I liked a little grunge music back in high school.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Okay,
it
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it wasn't my favorite, but I could get
Yeah,
down with it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
I was around certain friends, so we listened to a little
totally.
grunge.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of course, pop music.
Mm,
And who doesn't love 80s pop music?
yeah,
So
totally. Yes.
so yeah, so I listen to a little bit of everything. The only genre of music that I never really got into, and I don't know why, because my grandfather that listened to the gospel music, he also listened to country music. It was
Mm,
weird.
mhm.
If he wasn't listening to gospel, he was listening to country. But
Sure.
I just never got into country music. It just never drew me in.
Mm, yeah.
Nothing against it. It's just
Hey,
not my thing.
yeah, no, that's totally valid, and
Yeah.
I'm in Nashville, and my wife is a songwriter and in the country world, and I don't even really like country that much. So,
Really?
no, not really. I'm really particular about the country I like. I don't really like the big like pop country artists that are out right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I like kind of more of the outlaw and like underground stuff. But anyway,
Uh,
it is like I don't know what it is about country music, like and people that specifically really love like you know for me in the world that I'm in hip hop, but then also like soul R&B, like it almost
right,
is like those
right.
genres just don't go together. Like it's like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it's weird. I
Well,
haven't met a lot of people that are like I love R&B and country, or I love hip hop and country. I haven't met a lot of
yeah,
people
that
like
doesn't
that.
well, your guy Nelly tried it back in the day. I think he had a song with a country artist,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, there's
Yeah,
lots of crossovers happening now,
yeah.
like
I mean, I
Beyonce's new
didn't like the
album.
song, but
Yeah, yeah.
but he had one.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. Um, no, that's awesome. It's really cool
Yeah,
to kind of see how that evolves over time. And
yeah.
you mentioned the '80s, pop in the '80s, and I find that it's so funny talking about the '80s because I think most people would kind of say the '80s were not a great time for music, especially coming out of the '60s and the '70s, right?
Right, right.
But pop was huge in the '80s. Like, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
maybe rock wasn't
Yeah.
very good anymore. It was starting to go downhill or whatever, but like, yeah, pop music, like you've got Michael Jackson, you've got Prince, like you've got two of like the biggest pop artists of all time. You've also got, Stevie Wonder doing some stuff. Like you've got so much great
I'm
music,
a
great pop music.
yeah, and I'm a guy of a certain age. I'm 52. I'll be 53 in a couple of months, and I was definitely there when MTV jumped off, and
Mm,
that's all we
yeah,
heard was
yeah,
because at the time they didn't play a lot of they didn't play any R&B. So,
yeah,
it was always 80s pop music. You had your
yeah,
Madonna, like you said, when
yeah,
Prince they started playing Prince and Michael Jackson, of course, Phil
yeah,
Collins and stuff like that. So, I
yeah,
grew up on that stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah, I loved it. I still do. I
mhm,
still listen to it.
yeah. Do you, like, subscribe to the debate between, like, who's better, Michael Jackson versus Prince?
You know what? I gotta be honest. I didn't grow up well, of course, at my mom's house, I couldn't listen to Prince.
Yeah, sure.
Um, uh, Prince was a little out there
Mm,
for the time, I guess.
mm,
Um, at least my parents thought so. So, I heard more Michael Jackson growing up, even at my other grandparents' house. I heard more Michael Jackson. I didn't really started getting into Prince until later on. He's a great
mm.
artist, but I'm a diehard Michael Jackson.
There you go. Yeah, okay.
Diehard Michael Jackson guy.
Okay. Yeah, both great. Like,
Yeah.
it's an
Oh,
impossible debate.
absolutely.
It's like,
Yeah.
how can you debate that? And, like, why are you
Yeah.
pitting these 2 great artists against
Right.
each other anyway?
That's like,
Uh,
LeBron and Jordan. Why put them together? Just
I
enjoy
know.
both of them, you know?
Uh-oh. You're
But I
you're
love
getting into
LeBron.
s
Hey, I'm an
Hey,
Ohio
well,
guy. I love
hey,
LeBron.
I'm a LeBron guy too. I follow LeBron
My
everywhere.
man. I knew I
I
liked
am.
you, Tyler.
I am a LeBron guy, but yeah, it's the debate is tough. The debate is really tough.
Yeah, yeah,
And LeBron fans are kinda hard to come by these days now, I find.
yeah,
Now that
yeah.
he's now that he's getting a little
Now that he's
further away from his
yeah,
prime and,
they'll appreciate him more when he's gone. When he's
I
gone,
know.
they'll
Yeah, it's
appreciate him.
true. It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it is I always found that that was funny and like that debate kind of surfaced back up like with I think it was the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Like I think one of them like made a reference, like
Yeah.
basically saying I think it was Kendrick. I'm butchering this, but saying like, "Hey Drake, you're Michael
Yeah.
Jackson, but I'm Prince, and
Yeah.
everybody knows that
Right,
Prince is
right,
better."
right.
And I was like,
Right, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that that was such a
I
debate,
didn't
and I don't
yeah,
think
I didn't
people would subscribe to that in the way you're saying that, like, everybody thinks
right,
Prince is
right.
better. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess Kendrick loves Prince, I don't know.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, anyway, they both did so many great things, like, yeah, maybe
Oh,
Michael
man.
Jackson took a little bit more. Well, no, that's not even. I was gonna say maybe he took, like, a little bit more, um, like, put him a little bit more effort into his performances, but Prince was a performer
Prince
as well.
yeah, he
They
gives
were
a great
both
show
big
too
time.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he gives a great
It's
I think
crazy.
it more for me, more so Michael Jackson because I literally grew up with Michael. I mean, he was older than me, but ever
Mhm.
since I was a little kid, Michael was there. Prince came
Yeah.
along a little as I got a little older. I was,
Yeah, yeah,
but Michael,
absolutely.
he's always been there, so yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Talk about, like, just a crazy career. Obviously tragic story, but, like, crazy, crazy career, Michael Jackson, right?
Oh,
Like,
man.
just you
Understatement.
only people dream of having something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Let's
Yeah,
get into, like, a little bit of. I know that, like, Michael Jackson it's pop, but, like, R&B and pop, especially at that time and even now, is, like, so linked so closely, right? Like, there's so much
yeah,
influence with R&B, with soul into pop, and you can thank people like Michael Jackson and Prince for that, because
absolutely.
they kinda did that. But let's get into a little bit of these genres, a little bit of the classics, maybe some of this history around them because, yeah, that's just the kinda like what I was saying, like, it's so hard. Like, obviously you can find just straight up R&B artists and soul artists today, but in terms of, like, the influence that soul and R&B have on pop, it's like they're so interlinked. There's so much
Oh,
influence,
absolutely.
and it's
Absolutely.
you can't take one out of the other right now.
No, no.
It's almost the same thing to a degree. But
Yeah,
yeah, maybe unpack some of this, like, history of what you've seen in the genre with R&B and soul, and how some of
um,
that stuff kinda turned into pop.
so from history, actually, when you say pop music, of course, popular music,
Yeah, yeah.
but, a lot of black artists back in the day, a lot of the soul artists,
Mhm.
they made pop records, and then, they were called race records at the time, but they
Okay.
became popular because they crossed over, to white people loved it, but
Mhm.
they couldn't really consider them pop. They didn't wanna put them in the same category, so that's when they created the R&B genre.
Mm.
Per se.
Yeah,
Soul, R&B, yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it like you said, it all blends together, really. I mean,
Mm.
some of the artists back in the day, goodness, got your James Browns, those guys were
Mhm.
amazing, and, hey, white people liked them. They tried to keep them,
Yeah.
separate, but you can't contain talent like that, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely not,
Yeah,
absolutely not. And obviously it's a symptom of the time that they were in.
yeah,
But,
of course.
like, it's such a shame that that was even a thing that, like, like you said with the name of your podcast, like, music should be something
Yeah,
that brings people together and holds people together and is a positive thing. Um, so yeah, it's a shame that these great artists would have gone through that turmoil in their career.
absolutely. I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't imagine being an artist back
Mhm.
then. I really couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, yeah, James Brown is definitely, like, some people would look at James Brown and call him one of the most influential artists really ever of all
Oh,
time.
speaking of Prince and Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
James Brown influenced both of them, so
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
and they would
Yeah,
both tell you that, yeah, absolutely.
mhm. If you were to think of some of these, like, historical, influential artists, who would be some of your, like, maybe Mount Rushmore? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but,
Mount
who would be
Rushmore,
some of these?
okay. So, for my Mount Rushmore, of course, my number 1, my favorite artist of all time, Stevie Wonder.
Mm,
Stevie Wonder is definitely on my Mount Rushmore. I would put Marvin Gaye,
mhm.
I would put James Brown, I would put this is tough. One more.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, you put me on the spot.
Hey, you got
Ah,
3. 3 out of 4 is great.
yeah. Yeah, those 3, though, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I would have to put, Michael and Prince on in a different category. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
from back in the day, before,
Mm.
the ones that influenced, Michael and Prince.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because then, like, and there's also different categories too, because like that, if you're looking kind of cross genres at rock and stuff like that, then you're getting into like people like Chuck Berry.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
getting into Muddy Waters is
Yes,
like
sir.
kind of that
Yes, sir.
blues Motown, I believe. So yeah, it's but what
Don't
like
forget
I
Little Richard. I know you
yeah,
probably don't know
absolutely.
much about Little
No, I
Richard.
do.
Do
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh
because
yeah.
literally, Little Richard, as he would say, he was the architect of rock and roll.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And, yeah, I think it's, like it gets tough when you are trying to talk, like, who started this thing, but, like,
Yeah,
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 Little
yeah.
Richard's influence is
Absolutely.
is, crazy, and, yeah, totally pretty much birthed, a whole genre.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
just
He
yeah,
he
just
never got the
crazy.
credit he should have.
Mhm.
He would remind you all the time he didn't get the credit he should have.
Mhm, yeah. How long was his career like, his kind of music career? Because, like, somebody like Chuck Berry went
Mhm.
for a long time and, like, kept
Yeah,
playing and playing for quite a while before, he passed, but Little Richard, I think people talk about him like we are now, influential, but I feel like his career isn't as, like you just said, he didn't
yeah,
get the recognition or is like his career isn't as known as, what he was doing.
I think early on is when he had most of his major hits,
Mhm.
like, really early on, and I think he
Yeah.
continued making music up until, like, the late '70s, maybe
Mhm.
even beyond the late '70s, but I can only remember the late '70s. So, that's probably why it seems like his career wasn't super long. I think he like a
Mhm.
lot of artists, you make some songs in the beginning that were really big, and then, you kinda fade off. You're still around, but, people don't really, put you up there anymore.
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely feels like that's kind of what happened, is, like, he had a little bit more of, like, a spike in his career
Yeah.
than some of these other
Absolutely.
artists that we mentioned where it felt like, they had this really long, even though maybe a lot of their hits were in a kinda congested time, they still, like, went for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, and who like so those are some big names that I think most people would recognize. Maybe not Little Richard, and young people, maybe not Chuck Berry even. Like, and maybe some
Yeah.
people wouldn't know Stevie Wonder. I would be shocked, but
Yeah.
it's
Everybody knows
somebody.
Stevie.
I know. But
They better.
who would be some people that you feel like have done some great work and maybe have kind of gotten forgotten?
Oh, man. So, you know what? It's funny because I just recently, of course, I had heard of this guy before.
Mm,
I just recently started getting into an artist from way back, named Jackie Wilson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
mm-mm.
He is speaking of James Brown being a showman, Jackie
Yeah.
Wilson was on the same level, him
Really?
and
Okay.
James were like
Yeah.
right there. And of course he had
Mm,
a tragic ending. Things happened in his career, but Jackie Wilson definitely, he was a great artist.
mm,
Frankie Lyman, I don't know if you know Frankie Lyman, I don't know if you've heard him. His career was
mm.
kind of short, but he really, yeah, he was really big for a moment back in the day.
Okay.
I'm taking you way back. Like I said, I'm a lot older than you, so
Hey,
some of
no,
these
that's
artists,
totally
yeah.
fine.
But yeah, those
Yeah.
those 2 guys come to mind that,
Mm,
they were hot. I don't think they got
okay.
the credit that they deserved, but yeah,
Mm.
those 2.
Yeah, and
There's
it's
so many.
funny
There's
how yeah, there
Yeah, there's
are so
so
many, and
many. I just
especially as somebody that collects records, like, you would all the time, I'm sure, find vinyls that you're like, "Whoa, like, who is this
Yeah,
person?" Like,
yeah.
put it on and be like, "Hey, they're pretty good." Like,
It
which
you know
is
what's
so cool.
it's it's wild because I do that. I'll grab records in the, bargain bin for 2,
Mhm.
3, $5, whatever, and I'll
Yeah.
bring them home like, "I don't know who this is," but I'll
Mhm.
play the record, and then you're like, "Oh, I do know that song." It's like, I never knew
Oh,
who
yeah.
sang it, but I know the
Yeah.
song. So,
Yeah,
yeah, a
that's
lot of
amazing.
people, you'll hear their music is great, but you just don't know the artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like any era of music, there's always, like, one-hit wonder people, you know what I mean, that
Oh,
have,
yeah,
like, one big
absolutely,
hit, and then they don't really do
absolutely.
a whole lot more after that, but,
That's
um
gotta suck, man.
I
You're
know,
like,
I know.
just after that one hit, you're, like, chasing it like,
I know,
I got
yeah,
another one in me, I got another one,
yeah,
you just never get that next hit.
I
That's
know,
that's
that
the
would be
worst. That would just be
it'd be
terrible.
tough. Yeah, it would be
It's
really
all
hard.
I always wondered, it's almost like, would I rather have had not had the hit
Mm.
or, just be that one hit wonder and chase another one for the rest of my life? I don't
Y
know. That's a
Yeah, that
tough
would be a tough that's a tough question.
yeah, I almost say I would rather not have a hit.
Just not have it, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you didn't reach the mountaintop kinda thing, so you
Yeah,
didn't get a taste of
yeah,
that success. Yeah, that would be really
exactly.
disappointing to be like, "I'm here," like, and you would be kinda in your mind comparing yourself to these other artists that
Oh, yeah,
that had
absolutely,
those
yeah.
hits and made it, and you'd be like, "Am I gonna be the next James Brown? Am I gonna be the next Michael Jackson?" Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, man.
But then just, like, never hitting again would be rough, yeah.
God, that would suck, yeah.
I would imagine that's a recipe to spiral into a deep depression
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely. Talk about doing drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Gosh.
Well, and, like, the crazy part about, like, the music industry has its corruption today, of
Of
course.
course.
It's
Yeah.
always been corrupt to some degree,
Oh,
but, like,
yeah.
the corruption that was happening then, like, was just outrageous. Like, the stuff that was happening,
Oh my
like,
goodness.
is just so crazy. Like, so many artists had their managers or their accountants or their doctors even, like, stealing money from them, and, like, it's just
Most. Most
yeah,
of them.
I
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's just like, oh, it's and that would be enough for a small artist to derail their career, like, you
Oh,
know what I mean? Like, it'd
absolutely.
be enough to
Yeah.
and then, yeah, and then on
It's
top of that, you get all kinds of other dramas that happen, but yeah, like, it felt
so
like
many
the
of those
Wild
stories.
West.
Yeah,
Wild
really.
West in music at that point.
So it's just like, here, sign on the dotted line. And you're really, like they say, signing your life away. You want to be famous
Mhm,
so bad. You want to get your music out there so bad and people to see you that
mhm,
they literally would sign anything. And that's the
mm.
sad part about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's because you don't have the resources that you have today that, like, for example, you could run a contract through ChatGPT, and
Absolutely.
and you wouldn't have to pay anybody anything, and
That's funny you
Chat
said
like
that because I actually did that
yeah,
about 3 weeks ago. Somebody sent me over
absolutely.
a little contract, and I was like,
Yeah,
let me copy and
yeah,
paste this to chat and see what it says.
yeah,
Break it down for me, chat.
yeah,
And
and
hey,
you're
it
like,
worked. Yeah,
"Oh, yeah." You're like, "I don't wanna pay, $1,000 for a lawyer to look this over,
exactly.
so let's just get ChatGPT to do this."
Exactly.
So it's yeah, like, the resources we have today are obviously unprecedented and make things easier and harder at the same time. Easier in the sense that you can do a lot of this stuff on your own, harder in the sense that everybody can do this on their own. So the music
Yeah,
market is just
yeah.
flooded with so
Now,
many people.
you mentioned how it's flooded. So in that regard, I do think that's really had a bad effect on the music industry. That's just my opinion.
Mhm.
I'm a big hip hop fan. I love rap music.
Yeah.
And, I hear a lot of my buddies say, "Oh, this stuff now is garbage." So I'm not one of those guys. I'm not the old bitter, guy hating on the
Yeah.
young kids' music. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not made for me,
Mm.
but it's tough. I tell my son and my daughter, like, this stuff right here you're listening to, you're not gonna be listening to this. You're not gonna hear this song 20 years from now and be like, "Oh, that's such a great song." Like some of the
Mm.
music I grew up on, the rap music, you hear
Yeah.
it today and you're still like, "Oh, that's a good song."
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
kinda sad because anybody, literally anybody could put out an album, put out a song. Like, I could put out a song tonight.
Mhm.
So, I think that's kinda had a bad effect on the music industry as far as the quality. There's no more artists in the repertoire, the A&R
Mm.
guys that
Yeah.
kinda, a lot of artists would be, they get signed
Yeah.
and you wouldn't hear about them, for 4 or 5 years after they've
Mm.
signed because they were getting them ready, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that
Well,
music
and it's
industry is
so
something else.
and now that social media plays such a big role in that, like, it it makes it even more difficult because all you have to do is have, like, be a character, basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can go far,
Yeah.
even if what you're putting out is really not that great.
Right.
Like I know that this is like maybe low hanging fruit, but like an example would be the drama that was going around this Ian guy in the hip hop world when he first came out is like everybody was just like it sure I'm sure some of it had to do with, him being white, but it wasn't really that. It was just like
It was
this guy's stuff is garbage. Like
right.
does he have a following? And it's like, yeah, you're right. Like how does he have a following? And yeah, I'm kind of I'm
So
kind
do
of there
you
with you.
you
What?
believe
Pardon me?
in what when they say there's industry plants, do you believe that?
I do. Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll put my tinfoil
Absolutely.
hat on every once in a while
Yeah, me
and
too.
go down that
Me
rabbit
too.
hole
Yeah.
with certain people. Yeah, absolutely. My wife hates it. I'll just like she'll like put a song on and I'll be like, "Do you know what I think? I think it's an industry plant." She's like, "Shut up." Like
You sound like me. Yeah, like you said, I put my tinfoil hat on every now and then and throw
Yeah,
something out there, but it's right there in your face, like, he's gotta
I
be.
know.
She's
Yeah,
gotta be,
I
you
know.
know? On the
Yeah.
flip side of that, you know, being able to put out your own music, on the flip side, it's good for certain people because
Yeah.
there's really talented people out here, and they can
Yeah.
put their music out, and they don't have
Mhm.
to go through the bull crap,
Yeah.
with the record
Yeah.
company stealing money and all that stuff, but they can do it
Mhm.
independently,
Yeah.
get a following because they're talented, so that's the
Yeah.
flip side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the positive of it. Like in any situation, there's like that catch 22, right? You've got a
Right.
little bit of a positive, but you've got a negative as well. And
Right. Right.
it's the same with this. You've got the potential for a nobody to come out of nowhere and make great music.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
then you have the potential for a lot of nobodies that are really not good at that to flood the market with music that's not
Oh,
great.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like there's all kinds of artists like in different genres. Is it who there's like an R&B or artist that like does all of his own recordings on his phone. He's like pretty big right now. Man,
Oh,
I'm so bad at names. David?
um,
Is it David? But he's got a 4 instead of the A. I don't know if that's even how you say
I'm
his
not
name. I think
I'm
that's
not
who I'm
sure.
thinking of.
I'm not sure.
I think that's who I'm thinking of, and he
Okay.
records everything on his actually, yeah, it's
Eve.
D4VD.
Okay, I'm
So,
not
I don't
familiar
even
with him.
know,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure he just everything's on his phone, and he, like, mixes on his phone, and he's, like, got a huge following, but he's actually, like, he's
Pretty
coming out with
talented.
some pretty good music. Like, it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
just like you're like, "Whoa, this is bad, you've done this on your phone." Like,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check
it's
him out. I don't know him,
yeah.
but I'll definitely
Yeah,
check him out. Yeah.
he's fairly like I would say in the last like 5 years probably.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
been kind of on the rise. But
Yeah.
then yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you even though I'm not I'm in my 30s, but I feel like I'm an old head sometimes. Like I feel like I'm just like
Got an old soul, huh?
I don't get this new music. Like how does anybody like this? Like there's the whole like rage rap like, side of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like, I was
yeah.
like, "How can anybody like this
Yeah.
much distortion and, like, just assault on your eardrums?" Like
Like I tell my kids, it just wasn't made for me. I'm
yeah.
not gonna listen to
Yeah.
it. I have my opinion about it, but it just wasn't made for me, and I'll
Yeah.
accept that. Just like,
Yeah.
growing up, my parents, you know, that wasn't they didn't like it. It wasn't made for them though. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But one thing
It
for
is.
sure,
Yep.
2 things for certain is good music will rise to the top. The
Mm.
garbage, it'll fall to the bottom eventually.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Over time, those
Yeah,
artists will,
absolutely.
and it's like what we were just talking about with collecting vinyl. Like these unknown people that you're, like, finding in the bargain bins.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah,
that is that, like, that music just didn't really stand the test of time, like,
yep,
I don't think it's gonna be like, it's like, obviously now it's a little different, but, like, every decade has these artists where you're like sometimes if you were around for those decades, you're like, "Oh, I remember this hit,"
yeah.
like, but then, like, if you're going all the way back to the 40s and 50s, they've got tons of artists that, nobody would know who they are, but
Oh, absolutely.
you could buy a vinyl of them and listen to
Absolutely.
it, and you might be like, "Oh, this is actually not horrible. It's, like, pretty
Yeah.
decent." But it's like, the test of time, just they kind of fell into obscurity,
Yeah,
and
exactly. You know,
that's
and
just
and
what
I always
happens.
say a lot of there's a lot of talented artists out here, and for whatever reason, it could have been, different politics in the record company or whatever. They didn't
Mhm.
get pushed like they should have. That
Sure.
just didn't because there's a lot of, good music over the years that I've had that you never really heard it on the radio. You
Mm.
didn't see a video, but it was like great
Yeah.
music. Like, man, I wish they had a video for this, or I wish they played
Yeah.
this on the radio. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the music
Yeah,
industry.
it is,
That's the game.
and especially when you're thinking of, like, certain times. We kinda talked about the '80s, but, like, certain times were just, like, gold music times, like, you talk about the '60s, you talk about the '70s, you talk about the '90s, like, those are,
Yeah.
those some of those decades, it's like you'd never be able to listen to all the great music that came out in that day, you know what I mean?
No
Like,
way.
there's just too much
Too
in
much.
too many
Too
genres.
much.
Like, I
Yeah.
especially think of the '90s, like, hip hop
Oh,
I
oh my
is
goodness.
just bursting.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
it started in the late '80s, and it's
Yeah.
just bursting in the '90s, and it's like
Everywhere.
yeah, you can't listen to all of that
No.
unless you were, like, in that time and you were actively trying to listen to as much music as you
Right.
could, which
Now,
would have
I
cost you a
tried.
fortune. It would have cost you a
I
fortune.
tried. I
Yeah.
tried. I didn't listen to all of it, but I damn sure tried.
You tried your
I
hardest,
tried
yeah.
my hardest,
Well,
yeah.
man, that like,
That
that
was
the
my heyday, the '90s. I was,
mm. Well,
becoming a man. Oh, yeah.
that's the
Oh, yeah.
golden ages of hip hop. Everybody still
Yeah.
kind of says that, even maybe not like, you know, Gen Z people, but even, millennials, like, even though
But
we weren't really, like, coherent in the '90s, we were
right.
probably pretty young, we still go back and we're like, "This is greatness here. This decade for hip hop, it's greatness," and
It's great. But,
we've
you know,
we've been removed from that a little bit,
like you
but
said, some Gen Z people like myself 1988 was the greatest year in hip hop for me, greatest year in rap
mm,
music, and I'll stand on that.
mhm,
But, but for a lot of guys like your age, maybe a little older, they '90s was it for them.
yeah,
'90s was it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, music is it's just one of those things where you're always I think you're always kind of fighting in the past and the present are always fighting because you have the nostalgia of the past, of what you
Right.
grew up listening to, what you're familiar with, and then on top of that, maybe trying to discover some stuff you didn't hear in the past. But
Yeah.
then you have the present struggle, which is there's all kinds of new music coming out now, and you don't want to kind of miss the moment. You don't want to
It's
miss
too
the moment
much.
that it comes out. I know it is way too
It's
much.
too much. That's why I always go back to the old stuff because it's just too
Yeah,
much new music. I can't keep up.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you in, like, do you find that you're listening to a lot of new music still, or are you pretty much like, "You know what, I'll listen to these select artists if they release, but then I'm not really discovering
You
new
know what?
stuff."
So, to be honest, I listen to mainly older music. I do listen
Mhm.
to some music. My wife listens to new music, so if she's
Yeah,
playing something, I'm like, "I like that. Who is that?"
yeah, yeah,
I'll dive into
totally.
that person or whatever, but
Mhm,
I still listen to my old music. I don't know. It's just that's my comfort
yeah.
zone. I don't know.
It's to
Nothing against that. Don't get me wrong.
no.
There's some great new artists out here, some young
Mhm,
new
mhm,
artists that are absolutely amazing, making good music. And I'll if I hear about them, I'll listen to them. But
mm,
like I said, there's also a lot of garbage, so it's like it's so time consuming trying to sort
yeah,
out the good from the bad. You know what I mean? There's so
yeah,
much music out here, so I tend to go to my comfort zone, the old stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's totally valid. Like I've gone through different times in my life where I'm like sometimes where I'm like I'm just tired of what I've always been listening to, so now I just need to find something new. I want to find
right. I
something.
get it.
And I guess new is relative in the sense that it doesn't have to be new like something that just came out. I'm just thinking something I haven't heard before.
New for
So it could
you,
be
right?
old. Yeah, it could be
Yeah,
old stuff.
exactly.
But then there's other times where I'm like, I don't like, I'm tired of finding new things. Now I just want to sit and enjoy what I've always enjoyed because it's just great music.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. like you said you're kinda like a old soul, right? I've
Yeah.
always been like that. When I was like I said, my
Mhm,
first album when I was 12 was a jazz album. Who
mhm.
what 12-year-old is out here buying jazz, right?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying about I've always had this old soul. So I tend to
Mhm.
I've always just I like the old stuff,
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely valid. Like, there's so much greatness there, and, like, yeah, the influence of what those artists put on new music anyway. It's like, why not go right to the source? You're gonna listen to some greatness that now these people are all influenced by that person or
Yeah.
those people. Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I would be curious to know is, like, within, R&B, soul, whatever you want to kind of lump in for genres. For somebody that is not really well versed in that
Yeah.
world, what would be some albums that you would be like, these are some great albums that are must listens? Some of this stuff might dive into some of your favorite albums probably, but I'd be curious to know what are um, some great albums to listen to kind of get into this genre.
So yeah, let's do it. So I'll just give you a, 5 classic albums that
Yeah,
anybody should have. Any genre, I don't care what you prefer, what genre you love.
yeah,
Anybody should own these albums. That's just my
yeah.
personal opinion. Listen to it. It's good music.
Hmm.
Um, so in no particular order. Well, except for number one.
Hmm.
Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie
Yes.
Wonder is the greatest album ever created, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, it's
I'm
just, I
gonna
mean, it has everything.
Yeah, yeah, unpack that a little bit. I'd love to hear that. Why you
I mean,
think
I mean, it,
that's your favorite or the best?
I mean, it has a little bit of everything. Stevie's
Mm,
just, I mean, the fact that if you know the history, Stevie played most of the instruments himself. And
mhm,
mind you, everybody knows he's blind, but I
yeah,
think we take that for granted that he's blind. This guy
mhm,
is blind and he played almost all the instruments on the album, which is amazing. And some of the
that's
songs are
yeah,
just they're just timeless. You listen to the songs, they make you feel good.
mhm,
Um, lot of artists from the past and present will agree with me, and I've heard him say it. That's like the greatest album ever made. It's really hard to
mhm,
explain. You have to listen to it,
yeah,
and if you really listen to it with an open heart and
mhm,
open ears, there's
yeah,
no way you could say this album isn't a great album. It's just one of those albums. I can't even explain it.
mhm,
So anybody, no matter what you like, please, please go get that album.
mhm.
Another one is
Do you have
I'm
to
sorry.
listen to it on vinyl? Is that a requirement?
So, you know what's crazy about that? It's funny you asked that. You don't have to listen to it on vinyl, but it's something about hearing that vinyl. It's the sound
Yeah,
is so different, so raw.
mhm,
Um, of course, you listen to it on a CD or whatever. This it's just clean. It's so clear. That's
mhm,
fine, but it's something about that crisp, that pop in the album.
mhm,
It's just I
mhm,
can't explain it. It's just
mhm,
something about it. It kind of takes hearing that noise from a vinyl record kind of takes you back. At least it does me. It kind of takes me back to that time when that
mhm,
album was made. I don't know. It's hard
mhm.
to explain, but if you
Yeah,
can listen to it on vinyl, please do. But just
yeah,
listen to it. Even if you
yeah.
get the CD or digital, whatever, just listen to it,
Mm.
please.
I have one more question for you about
Yeah.
this album. I hate to interrupt you when you're in the flow,
No, no,
but
no, no.
I'm curious. Um, was When did this album come out? I can't remember the exact year, but I'm sure
Uh,
you do.
it came out in 1976. 1976.
1976. Okay,
1976, yes.
nice.
Double
Okay,
album,
and
and it came with a double album,
mhm.
2 LPs, and it came with a 45, actually. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Wow,
yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah, keep going.
Another one that I think everyone should listen to is Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On."
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you could literally close your eyes and listen to this record. It's Marvin kind of telling you he's telling you what's going on in the world during that time, what's going on in, black neighborhoods all over the
Mhm.
country. The war was going on. It's just close your eyes, listen to that record, please. That's
Yeah.
another one. You gotta have it. You gotta
Mhm.
have it. Um, Another album I think everyone should own is "A Love Supreme" by John Coltrane. I know if you love jazz, you love jazz. If you don't, you don't. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't listen to jazz. They haven't really
Yeah.
given it a chance, or they'll say, "Oh, that's
Mhm.
just not my thing."
Mhm.
Uh, so, I mean, music is, you like what you like, of course,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
put that album on,
Mm.
relax, just listen to it, give it a chance. I think a lot of people would be surprised and actually really like
Mhm.
jazz music if they listen to
Yeah.
this album.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
think
let's
I think
go
that
ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I keep interrupting you, I'm sorry, but
Oh,
I do think that, like, it is, like, there's so much influence on modern music from jazz that I really think people would, like you said, just give it a chance, have an open mind, like, don't go into it being like, you know, "I'm gonna hate this," or
yeah.
I like, whatever, like, because there's so much of what you like about music in jazz.
Oh my goodness.
Like, jazz is so, like, for people that really like, for example, like punk rock or something.
Yeah.
Like, people like punk rock because it's aggressive, it's ever changing. What do you think jazz is?
That's what
Jazz is
that's what
changing all the
jazz.
time.
Yeah.
It's aggressive.
Jazz was
It's
punk rock before punk rock.
absolutely.
They tried to
Yeah.
get jazz out of here. They didn't want jazz music around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jazz was that was a crazy time when it first started.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, keep
Yeah.
going.
Another one would be for anybody that's a Michael Jackson fan, even
Mhm.
if you're not, of course, Off the Wall, which
Mm.
is his first big solo album. Not his first solo album, but his
Mhm.
first big solo album. Came out right around the disco era. So it's got
Yeah.
a little tinge of disco, but not, you know, not your typical disco. But it came out in
Mhm.
that era. But that album, and I've said this, so I've been on record to say that I like this album better than Thriller. This
Hey.
Off the Wall
Yeah.
is just such a
Honestly,
great album. Yeah.
to me, that makes me believe that you're a real one, a real Michael Jackson fan. Not that
Absolutely.
Thriller not that Thriller is a bad
Oh,
album,
great
but
album.
I don't think it's his best. I think that
Yeah.
maybe, and it does, I guess to me, Thriller doesn't flow as well as an album. It feels more like a collection of songs.
A collection
Whereas
of hit songs. There were a
yeah,
lot of hit songs, but yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Off the
but,
Wall, though, it's just
yeah,
oh man.
Off the Wall is my favorite Michael Jackson album for sure. I just love young Michael too. Like, I just find that,
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah,
it's
man.
just
Yeah.
so,
How
yeah,
can you not?
I know.
I
So
get
much
so
energy,
excited talking
so
about
much
these
passion.
albums, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep
Man.
going. I'm interrupting
Um,
you so much.
and no, 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 but we're good. And my favorite rap album, I'm a huge rap fan too. My favorite rap album, um, speaking of jazz, which was heavily this album was heavily influenced by jazz. The
Mhm,
producer, the
mhm,
one of the guys in the group, big jazz fan. But the album is Midnight Marauders by a Tribe Called Quest.
mhm,
Now, if you don't like jazz or you do like jazz, listen to this album.
mhm.
If you're a jazz fan and you've probably heard this album.
Yeah.
It's so heavily influenced by jazz. It's
Mhm,
so heavily it really changed the way it changed my taste in rap. At the time, before I was more of a uh, uh, in the rap world, it's considered boom bap, the
mhm,
heavy, drum, the big. When Tribe Called Quest came along, it kind of changed how I listened to rap music, and my
mhm.
favorite artists started being, more jazz influenced, like a Tribe Called Quest, which is the greatest rap
Mhm.
group of all time to me. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
that's another one of those albums. If you're a music fan, check it out. Just give it a chance. Just give all these records a chance. That's all. But
Mhm,
right offhand, those are the ones that please listen to these
mhm.
albums. Yeah.
And you're, this I feel like putting Midnight Marauders above, the low end is another potential, debate waiting to happen for
Oh,
you.
absolutely. People
Mm,
always, yeah. I've debated people, and it's subjective. Of course, music is,
yeah, yeah.
and I love Low End. Don't get me wrong. Low End
Mhm,
is, like I said, they're my favorite group ever. But if I
mhm.
had to choose, hey, you're going to be on this deserted island. You only can
Yeah.
take one.
Mhm,
I'm going to go with Midnight Marauders.
mhm.
That's just
Okay.
the one for me. Yeah,
Totally valid, yeah,
yeah.
and like you said, music is subjective, but, eh Tribe, like, they're so I don't know. They've got so many great albums that I
Oh,
feel like
man.
you're splitting hairs to some
Oh, man.
degree.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
in the top, if you're, like, looking at the top 3, you're probably splitting hairs,
Yeah.
and it would come
You
down
really are.
to
Yeah.
which album you connected to better, probably,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
is
'Cause their
yeah,
first
great group.
3 were just amazing.
Yeah,
Like, I had never
crazy,
heard
yeah,
anything like it, man. I was like, "Wow."
yeah, yeah. People, like, that's, like, a really big thing on social media, I don't know if you've seen it, but, like, people, like, saying, like, "Who has the best 3 album run?"
Oh, yeah, I've
And
seen that.
I
Absolutely.
feel like they would be up
Absolutely.
there. They'd be up
Yeah.
there.
I
Yeah.
put them up there with, I think DMX had a hell of a run. His first 3
Yeah.
albums.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, he
Yeah, he's
came out
definitely up
just
there. He came out on
swinging.
fire.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really good ones, that's for sure. Um, do you listen to much, like there's not a lot of it, but do you listen to much, like, kinda recent-ish, like, jazz rap?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I've had a couple people send me things saying, "Hey, Smitty, check this out." I just
Yeah.
haven't got around to it. I'm not against listening to it, I just haven't.
Mm.
I just
Yeah.
haven't. Yeah.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
wouldn't quite be the same.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
But
like, "I'm going back to Quest."
you know what I do listen to a lot of?
Yeah, yeah.
Yacht rock.
Really?
I listen to a lot
Okay,
of yacht rock, man. I don't know, that's just some
okay.
good music, man. Yeah.
Man, yeah, hey, no,
That's just some
I'm here
good
with it.
some Kenny
Yeah.
Loggins, some Michael McDonald, man. How can you go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, that's so true. Uh, I was trying to, there was a yacht, I'm not gonna be able to find it. I was trying to look back. There was somebody just sent me, kind of like a lesser known, like, yacht rock, anyway, I'm not gonna be able to find it. But yeah, would you consider that to be a guilty pleasure? Would that be something that you,
You know what? I used to say guilty pleasure, but now I'm like, why I
oh,
don't feel guilty for listening to good music, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, if I admitted that I liked, I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys, that's a guilty pleasure.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
By the way, I do like that song.
I was gonna say, is this an admission here?
I do like that song, and I find myself singing it sometime around the house. My wife's like, "Stop singing that song." It just pops in my head for some
Hey,
reason, that song, I don't know, I've always liked it.
there yeah, they were onto something. Some of those boy bands, some of those 90 or, like, early 2000s boy bands, and the female, like, I don't know, what did they call girl bands? I don't know what they called them, but
I don't know. It was a they had a formula back then, and it worked.
they did, yeah,
Yeah,
they pumped out some great music, like, yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy.
Now, I never owned any Backstreet, but I never bought the CDs or anything, I
Okay,
never but that song just I don't know, I just
okay.
like that
So you're
song.
saying you don't have a vinyl for I don't know what that album's called
Absolutely
that's
not.
off of.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Oh
Couldn't tell you.
gosh.
But that song,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Well, that's a like, an awesome, like, kind of primer for getting into kind of the that genre, I guess, to a degree. Um, what, I'm trying to think of, I had a question that came up, but I was interrupting you so much that I felt bad to I was like, "I can't
Nah,
keep."
you weren't interrupting me. It's all good. We're just
Oh, it
talking,
was
man. It's
oh,
all
okay.
good.
It was, kind of around jazz. You
Okay.
mentioned, um we can maybe use this to close because we're getting up there in some time.
Okay.
Um, like I told you before, I've never had like I always say this, but conversations once you get talking, it's easy. The
Right,
time
right,
flies,
right.
man. But yeah, maybe unpack a little bit. You were talking about jazz and how it was just such a crazy time, but we were kind of saying like jazz was a genre that was just so divisive at the time, and
Yeah,
it was a revolt type of a genre in the same way that punk came out, and it was
yeah.
a revolt against something. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll have a lot of a chance to talk to many people that would be able to dive into some of this history around jazz.
I mean, at the time when jazz first started becoming popular, the people in charge, the society kinda they kind of, how should I put this? They kind of jazz kinda equaled, they thought, drugs, sorta
Mm,
like with,
sure.
sorta like with, a lot of different other music genres through the years, but
Yeah.
jazz
That's
music led you to sin,
mm, mhm,
drugs, and
mhm.
yeah, so that was the big thing back then, and they tried to legal or they tried to make it illegal in certain places in the country. Was what's crazy.
That is crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah, but, that was a big thing, and unfortunately, back then, a lot of the jazz artists were the big drug then was heroin. A lot of the
Mhm,
jazz artists, even your favorites, some of your favorites were addicted to heroin.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
but, back then they said, you listen to jazz, you're gonna fornicate and do drugs. That was the big thing. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's yeah, that's crazy. That
But
yeah.
it prevailed though, jazz. It
Mhm,
stayed.
mhm.
It stayed.
Yeah. That's like, what was the crazy one that I kept hearing when I was growing up? It was something like I don't know if it was Led Zeppelin, but, like, it was a band, maybe it was Motley Crue, where it was like, if you play the record backwards,
Backwards.
it says, like, something about
Something about
Satan.
Satan or something,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like, "I worship Satan" or
I remember
something.
that. I remember that, yeah. I'm
And
like,
it's
"Oh."
even if they made it that way, that doesn't mean that you're selling your soul to Satan, like, unwillingly because you're hearing it backwards,
Right.
like, come on. Like,
Oh,
yeah, it's so ridiculous, but
some of the
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
it seems like, there's so much of this, like it's so cyclical, this whole, like,
Yeah,
new genre comes out. The people that aren't familiar with that genre don't like it. They
yeah.
feel like it's threatening to them for whatever
Oh,
reason. So
bro.
then they are anti it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like
I yeah.
rock and roll, heavy metal, like even like sometimes some of the more like aggressive hip hop stuff like that, like you know what I mean? Like it can like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I distinctly remember in the beginning days of rap how,
Mm, yeah.
they were so against rap music. They were
Mm,
so against it, and, of course, everybody thought it was gonna be a fad, it was gonna fade out, it wasn't gonna stay,
mm.
and little did they know it would become the most popular music in the world, you know?
Yeah,
But, yeah,
seriously.
I
Yeah.
remember they thought it was gonna fade out, and, it
Yeah,
was so
so wrong.
bad, and don't let
Yeah,
your kids listen to rap music, they'll be corrupted, and they'll be out selling
rough.
drugs, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was wild, wow, wild days back then, man.
And then, like, once they realized it was staying, then they, like, tried to take rap and, like, turn it into I don't know if you saw any of those, like, horrible, like, old Christian, like, videos of, like, these old white ladies, like, rapping some
Oh,
sort of,
yeah.
like, a
Oh,
Jesus
absolutely.
rap, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
trying to bring the
Absolutely.
youth into church,
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just funny, like, it's all cyclical because the same thing happened with rock, right? And, like
Yeah, right. Right.
and then you also get these, like yeah, it's just and now it's kinda like, what's that genre gonna be now? Like, what
Right.
genre am I gonna be saying to my
Right,
kids,
it's your
like,
kids, yeah.
"Hey, do not listen to that, it's the devil music." Like, I hope none, but
You know, all of my kids are of age now. My youngest is 18.
Mm,
With my kids, I never shielded them from any kind of music. I always wanted them to find their own thing, listen to whatever.
yeah.
There was really no music I didn't even some of the and some people might say I'm a bad parent. Even some of the, you know, more, you know, rap music with the cursing and stuff like that. I didn't
Mm,
really shield them from that too much because,
mhm.
truth be told, they hear this stuff at school. They hear all
Wow.
this stuff. So I'm like, why am I going to
Yeah,
shield them? I'm going to let them figure
yeah,
it out.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
good. And fortunately, I have three great children. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that's really, like, the best way to do it, like,
yeah,
obviously, you're kinda, like, talking to them through the process, you're like,
yeah. Of course.
if you hear your eight-year-old listening to, Sexy Red or something like that, you're probably
Well, hold
probably
on,
just
hold
like,
on.
"Hey," like
I draw the line at Sexy Red. We don't
Okay.
do Sexy Red. I draw the line right there.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Yeah, so it's
No,
like,
but yeah, I would
yeah, yeah,
talk
you're
to him through
obviously
it, like,
talking to them, you're
yeah, of
talking to
course.
them through it, and you're like, "Hey,
That's not,
these lyrics."
you shouldn't sell drugs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that, right? I think that's just maybe that's the symptom of why this cycle happens is because,
Yeah.
parents have always had a hard time figuring out how to talk to their kids properly in a way
Right.
that is
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm not just setting a rule to set a rule, like, I'm wanting to talk to you about why, like, maybe this isn't a great idea to watch this movie or to
Yeah.
listen to this song or to, whatever, hang
Yeah.
out with
Yeah.
these people. Like, that's just that might be more the cycle of things. I don't
Yeah,
know,
I always
like
thought
the
that
sphere.
that style of parenting works better to me because
Mhm,
my parents were the total opposite.
mhm,
They were strict. This is what it is. I said it was like this, and this is what it's gonna be. So I
mhm,
kinda, I was more open with my kids. I didn't
mhm,
shield them from a lot. I always
mhm.
talked to them, and it
Yeah,
worked out.
yeah, yeah,
It doesn't work out for everybody. It worked out for me, fortunately. I've got some great kids.
yeah. Well, and, like, can't be a perfect parent. I think that's just
Yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
think that's just what happens is, like, sometimes you make mistakes because 'cause you're a human being and you make mistakes, and, like, kids are resilient, so you just try to
Oh,
do your best
absolutely.
to help if some stuff has happened, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's,
Yeah.
it's tough, but, yeah, as far as music goes, I have a 7-year-old, so,
Oh,
we're
okay.
not
Okay.
we're not quite in the realm of, like,
Yeah.
getting her being too independent with her music choices, but
Right, right, right.
I have been, like, quite loose with, like, if she wants to listen to, like, obviously right now, any music she hears is music that we've basically shown her or she's heard, like, in a Disney movie or something. So
Right,
it's
right,
not,
of
you know what I
course.
mean? Like, she's not,
Right.
but at the same time, I'm like, "Hey, we showed you this one song of, let's say, Olivia Rodrigo." So, like, we're listening to the album now, and, like, yeah, there's a few songs where she's swearing, and I'm just kinda like, "You know what? She's 7, that's pretty young, but at the same time,
Yeah.
they're swearing at school at 7.
Absolutely.
Like, she's hearing these
Absolutely.
words, so it's like, it's a lot better for me to be like, if she hears that word and she's like, "What does that mean in this song?" I
You
can
could have that
explain it.
conversation. Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly, so, yeah,
Exactly.
but, I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying I'll never say this is the devil's music, but I hope not.
No, no, and let me clear that up. Some stuff, I wasn't totally like, "Hey, whatever." Some
Yeah,
stuff,
no,
it's like,
absolutely.
"Oh, no, we're not listening to this." It's like,
Yeah,
"No,
yeah,
no way." But for the
yeah,
most part, for
yeah,
the
yeah.
most part, I kinda, talked them through it and let them figure it
Yeah,
out. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think this is a great place to end.
Okay.
It's been a great chat. We've
Thanks,
been
man.
Yeah, I appreciate having you on and picking your brain about R&B and soul and kind of these classics because um yeah, I think sometimes to some degree we can get lost in the rigmarole of like new releases that are coming
Yeah,
out
for
because
sure.
every Friday there's new music and there's so much new music,
So much,
but
so
there's
much.
so much great classic old music that,
It
is
is.
necessary to listen to, really.
Absolutely. Like I said,
Yeah.
old music doesn't get old.
Yeah, absolutely.
They call it old school. I'm like, it may be old, but it's not. It's still good. It's
Yeah,
still good.
exactly. Old doesn't mean bad
Old doesn't mean
or
bad.
outdated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. But
absolutely.
yeah, I appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
well, yeah, I super appreciate it. For any listeners out there that are following along, you can find Smitty at Smitty's Soul Shack. I,
Yep.
I think you have some underscores in there, but if you type up
It,
Smitty Soul Shack, you'll
it'll
find it.
pop up. It'll
Yeah,
pop up. Smitty Soul Shack. And also, follow Music is the Glue podcast.
yeah,
Follow that. And follow my
yeah.
partner, T Money, Tony, T Money
Okay, yeah.
1968. That's
T.
my guy, man. Follow him.
Okay,
He's got
we'll
some
do
good
all.
music stuff.
We'll do it. I'll have to do that because
Yeah.
I've been checking out your podcast, but I didn't actually, go and follow him, so I'll follow him. But yeah, a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And, maybe we'll have you on sometime down the road. I do
Yeah,
enjoy
man.
having repeat guests come on, to talk later on, so
I
yeah.
appreciate you, Tyler.
Yeah, awesome. Well, come back next week for a new episode and a new guest, and yeah, we'll see you then.
All right.